Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments. Welcome to Season 2 of the Determined Mom Show. It was so fun recording all of Season 1 with these amazing women that have so much value to offer to you. I can't even express my gratitude for all of the women that were on Season 1, and that would be Sharon Henderson, Megan Lockhart, Allison Nelson, Lucy Liu, Vicky Musney, and Tammy Brockman, and Uma Bpat. So those were all of the women that we had on Season 1, and I have just formed the best relationships with these women. And even after having them on, we talk almost all the time, almost daily, with actually all of them. So they are in the Determined Mom Show community. So if you are not yet in there, please definitely jump in, and you can find that by just searching the Determined Mom Show. And that is on Facebook. So it's a Facebook group. So there are so many wonderful, amazing moms in that group that own businesses, and it's growing every day. And I just really hope that you can join us in there. It's super fun. Today on Season 2's premiere episode, we have Tequila Dodard. So Tequila and I talked about how to stand out on social media. She has a podcast that is amazing called Standout Be You. She also has an amazing Facebook group, which is linked in the notes of this episode. So definitely go check that out. And she's just an all-around amazing, positive person with a very inspirational story. So definitely give her a look on Facebook, or just look her up everywhere you can. And she is amazing. So looking forward to letting you listen. On today's episode of the Determined Mom Show, we have a very special guest, Tequila Dodard. She is the owner of Standout Be You. Welcome, Tequila.
Hello there, Amanda. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and speak with your audience.
Yeah, we are very excited to have you and learn more about your business and you and what you do. So let's start with the beginning, I will say, and you can tell us about your business and how you got started working from home.
Okay, absolutely. Well, let me rewind a little bit and go back to where I came from. I like to say single girl, fabulous lifestyle, had a full-on executive position where I traveled all over the country, so forth and so on. Fast forward to maybe the later years where my family started questioning what's going on with you with your love life, and then my coworkers started saying the same thing. Don't you have anyone? So I decided to open up and allow myself to find love and to be loved, and I end up meeting my now amazing husband. And in the beginning, it didn't matter where we lived because I worked for a doctor who had 50 centers across the country. So I was on the plane like every week. Wow. So it did not matter where I worked from. And then we decided to actually start the family, fast forward to that particular juncture. And when that happened, we knew that we wanted to be able to really kind of have a different dynamics of raising our family together. So we made a decision to, at that time, put my career on hold and move forward with his career. And in doing so, I will tell you, Amanda, I always had my hands in having little side businesses here and there online, because I've always been intrigued by the whole entire online world. But with having the family, I was able to see my children grow and be there with them and really experience those things that some moms and some families or fathers, they don't get to have. So I felt this was a blessing that I had. And when they were older, I wanted to give that back to other individuals, like show individuals how they could do what my husband and I have done for our family, you know? Yeah. And it's been my mission to be able to help individuals like free up more time so they can spend time doing what they really want to do, because we all, in the end, what we want is to be happy and spend more time with our family and our friends. So with that being said, how I got into this Standout Be You and where we are today is I was cooking one day and my son said to me, you know what, Mommy, you should be a restaurant owner. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, because you're a great cook. And I thought to myself, I don't even like cooking.
Yeah.
Why would I be a cook at a restaurant? I cook because I love you. I love my entire family.
Yeah.
Situation. So I realized that my family or my children did not know my past life. And I think that's what happens to a lot of women is we do get into that position where we've put things on hold in our past life. And we've now become, I like to call it the CEO, household operations, individual. And our children didn't get to see what we had or what we did before.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be able to show them that, hey, there's more to mommy. Mommy used to be this big wig. I like to try to call myself that.
Yeah. That's great.
So I wanted to actually show them by starting the Standout BU, which Standout BU is the podcast, but then I also have the secondary backup business, which is Socially Stand Out, which is the services that I provide for different women that are really starting their side businesses, so forth and so on.
Very cool. So let me go back just a little. Okay.
Yeah,
So what was your job? Like, what did you do before?
Well, I was in charge of all new hires that came into the organization. I'm assuming we're speaking about when I was corporate America, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I was in charge of onboarding everyone that came into the organization. So I stood up in front of individuals, coaching and training them how the organization works and how they could best succeed as a new employee within the organization. And I would then travel around the country to make sure that they were doing what I told them they're supposed to do when I introduced them and onboarded them in the beginning. And I will tell you, Amanda, really, I kind of created that position for myself within the organization, which was really cool. So I think that's what made me really love corporate America when I was there, because I was kind of in the forefront of creating what I did. Because sometimes people are like, I don't like corporate America, I'm ready to leave it, so forth and so on. But I think it's because they are not a part of creating the position or creating the skill sets or wherever they are in that position that they're in.
Yeah, and that also creates ownership in that position. You feel more, I don't know, like it's more like your baby than something that someone hires you for, and says, okay, you have to do this. It's different. Yeah.
And that's why I think I had a hard time letting it go in the beginning, because it took me some time. I kept deadlining myself as to when I was going to exit. And we had even had baby number 2. I was still hanging in there. And they were like, okay, it's time. I was like, okay, yeah, it's time for me to go and part ways so that we can go. But those skills, I will tell you, and that's what I tell women that are in the 9 to 5, because that's who I like to help, is working women. I like to help transition their skills, or help them transition their skills that they had or that they already have inside of them, into whatever it is that they want to do with sharing their gifts and everything with the world.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles that people face when so you're thinking about like your family dynamic, it's changing. Maybe you had a baby, maybe you're going to have a baby, maybe, I don't know, something crazy is happening in your family and you need that shift, but you don't have any clue of how to do it. Or, I see those posts literally all the time in, the Facebook groups and things that I belong in. And they're just like, okay, I need to work from home, but I don't even know what to do. I don't know. I don't have any ideas what is out there. And then, there's like 400 different replies. And that person is now completely overwhelmed,
Exactly. And what it is that I do is I have a video that I've created. It's completely free for individuals to look at. But what I do is I walk them through their skills. That's all I'm doing. Is I don't even tell them you should do this. It's allowing them to think about what they already have inside of them, what they've already been doing the last 5, 10 years. And what did you like the most? What did you not like? Because we always can quickly tell what we don't like.
Yeah.
What is it that you did like? And let's basically wrap something around that. And it's a video that is just me talking, and they're sitting with themselves, and they do a little exercise with it. And by the time they finish, they should basically have a better idea as to what they would like. And then it allows them to be able to basically go out online and then search for those individuals, because coming online is very hard. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's very hard. And what you do is, even if you were great in the brick and mortar world, which I was like, I'm telling you, I felt like superstar executive. But when I came here online and tried to do that business, I was like, oh my God, what is going on? You're following this guru and this course and that course. And then you lose yourself. Like you said earlier, you end up losing who you are. But that was part of the name that I came on. I said, Tequila, you have to stop. Stand out. Be you. You know who you are.
Yeah.
And this video is pretty much walking them through what it is that I went through when I finally said, you know what? Hands up. I know what I'm doing. Here are my skills, and here's what I need to do.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And just that, I guess, helping spirit really comes through in what you're passionate about. You can tell, that you're super passionate about that. And I think that's a really good thing. And I'm sure I haven't watched the video yet, but I would like to, just to see,
absolutely.
just to have that experience and maybe be able to refer people,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think one of the things is I want people to be happy.
Yeah.
I know that may sound like, what is it, the beauty queens or whatever, pageants.
Yeah.
It really is true. And I always think about that study that they go around and they ask individuals in the last days of their life, what is it that they wish they would have done? And most people say is they wish they would have spent more time with their family.
Yeah. Yep. I agree 100%. And that, that was my motivation for starting my own business. And I know I have a group of local moms here. There's about 160-ish of them. And that is the motivation for all of them. And I can say, maybe there are segments of the population that maybe not necessarily moms or women, but that maybe that's not their motivation. Maybe it's just to make more money. But I would say, like, if you're a mom and you're starting a business, I can guarantee you that that's probably the number one reason.
Yeah. And even the ones that you're speaking about, and it's interesting that you even brought up money, because here's one of the things that I don't know what happened, but I think social media really just flipped our minds around, that individuals, when they come online, they see so many people talking about, I'm making 6 figures or 20,000 a month, all these big numbers, which is true, because I've had clients where we're making that and we're doing that, but that person has a different type of vision and goal that they want in their life than I may want in my life and what I'm trying to do, Right. Everyone's financial number, is what I like to tell people, is totally different.
It is.
Just because that person is making this high figure of numbers, what are their expenses on the other side? We don't know that part. So one thing I recommend is not comparing your beginning to someone's ending. Mm-hmm. So make sure that you're matching up with someone that's really close along the line of where you are, and that you, again, know what it is that you want as far as success in your life and in your lifestyle. Just map that out. What do you want your lifestyle to be? How do you want it to be? And I know for my husband and I, we want to be able to travel to different countries and show our children how people live around the world. We map that into our lifestyle. And that's what part of my business goes towards, for us being able to travel.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The lifestyle that we mapped out. And that's what I like to tell individuals is, what is the lifestyle that you want? And then let's back into that.
Okay.
Because in the end, what's important is you're time rich. You want to be time rich, because we can't buy time back. Let's get time rich, individuals.
I love that. I literally love that. Let's get time rich. That's actually like a great name for, like, I don't know, so many other things.
So maybe I should look up that domain, making sure it's not there.
Yeah, you got to go look up the trademark for that and pop it in there. Yeah. Okay, so what are some tips that you can give moms that are listening, or anybody that's listening, to stand out on social?
I think one of the biggest things is to have your message together, right?
Mhm.
I think that we talked about that a little bit earlier before, is that we've been in communities where people are asked what they do, or they're trying to talk about their service, and then they put it out there and it's completely confusing. So one of the things I say is, if you're confusing individuals, you're going to lose individuals. So
Yeah.
let's not confuse them. So one of the number one things that I recommend is making sure that your message is very, very clear. And that's one of the things that I like to really get back to when I take on a new client is, okay, what are we telling people here? What's your message? And then let's wrap your message around your products, your services, your marketing, your everything else. Because if you do not have your message down, then everything else will be completely off.
Yeah.
You'll even attract the wrong audience. If you don't have the right message, you're attracting the wrong audience. And how do I know that? Because I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. I started trying. I was like, how did I get with this person? I was like, I gotta figure out how to not be with this person. That was wrong.
That's
so
funny.
I highly recommend having your message so crystal clear so that you are building it correct, in the first place. And not to say that it will not evolve. All businesses, whether it's online or offline, I've worked in both, they evolve over time. So things will change, but your root message is what I call it. Your root message is attached to you and who you are and what you're about, your values, your everything. That doesn't change. So let's get the root first and then build the other message platforms around it.
So is there like a formula for that? So I write down like, okay, what I do, I don't know. I'm just
I have like I call it like a 3-branch process.
Okay.
Where you have the root. So you're thinking of it like a tree, and then you branch the other messages from that. Okay. And then when you have those branches, you can add the limbs to it and everything, but nothing changes from that root. Because think of a tree, it's planted down deep. So nothing can sway that root message, but then you can build branches out from that root message. Okay. And where people get lost is they then try to tell everybody all the messages on the tree. Let me show you all of my branches. Don't do that. Tell us about your root message, and then let us grow with you. So just like you planted your tree, let us grow with you and let us actually figure out the other parts of your tree and your branches.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. That's a really good way to think of it, and really good analogy. And also, I guess, a visualization, because people can, if it's not going back, if what you're saying isn't going back to your root message, like I guess that's maybe like a quick checkup, like if what they're putting out there. Yeah, it's a quick check, because if it's not going back to your root message, you're going to know that this is even not for my family. This is even not for the direction I want to go. We're completely off our path. What in the world happened? Because sometimes you're going to get off your path. It's just the way that life is. We have our hiccups. We have our hills or valleys. But if you get back to that root message, you're like, oh, that's why I'm off. That's why I'm completely over here, because it has nothing to do with the root message of who I am and what I'm about and what I'm trying to give out to the world. Yeah. I tend to do that sometimes. But it's because we're human, Amanda. It happens to us all, but it's okay because some people don't have the root message. So then they get completely off, and then they're like, my life is shambles. My life is like whatever, it's crappy. It's poopy. I'm going to say this because we got kids, and I know that you really, know. But so we get to where it's like that, but that's because we didn't have that root message. Yeah. And this is not only for business, this is for life too. Mm-hmm. It's for both, for business and life. What are you about? What's your message? Yeah. And does it have kind of like backtracking? Does it kind of develop out of your goals? Like where you want your life to be like for you and your husband, like your goal was to travel, right? Yeah. So then does that develop your root message, or does your kind of core beliefs and those kind of things develop? My husband was part of my root message. Okay. He didn't help in developing my root message. My root message of traveling has always been in me. I've always loved to travel. So I had to find the right guy that fit into my root message. Your root message is your root message. Yeah. He's just one of my branches
that actually became a part of my root message. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I do.
think sometimes it's even, I'm going to take away the mom. I'm going to take away all of that. And I think as women, sometimes we give up so much of who we are to so many others that we forget about who we are inside. And that's your root.
Yeah.
That's the root of who you really are.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Too true. A little painfully true. Yeah.
But it's okay, because one thing that I say is if you love yourself so much, you can give so much more love to everyone else around you. But if you're lacking that internal love, then you know the saying, if mama's not happy, no one's happy. So you have to really pull yourself back. So I believe in mommy time. I believe in women having, your getaway time, your girl time, all of that, because I think we need that as moms, women. I think that we need all of that.
Yeah. Especially to feel like, I know when I do that, when I have those times, I feel like I am an individual. When I'm at home, I feel like I'm like an octopus or something with like all these like tentacles coming off of me. I don't know.
That is a great example. You are. And I don't know if they're sucking on you or you sucking them. I don't know. But
I don't know either. I feel like sometimes like one of the tentacles just comes back and like attaches itself to my face. And,
it's so, yes, this definitely happens. Because I tell you, the perfect example is I cannot go to the grocery store with my kids. Every single time I feel like I'm completely thrown off. But when I don't have them, I'm so much better in the grocery store.
Oh my goodness. I just had that experience. Every 3 months, I forget why I don't take my kids to the grocery store. And then I go and then I'm like, oh no. And this time it wasn't even the older two, it was the baby. And I was like, why did I do this? I come home to my husband and I'm like, okay, I can't do that again. And then of course in 3 months I'm going to forget about it and I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to try again. But
Exactly.
What other messages do you have for, I guess not messages, advice do you have for our listeners about standing out on social media?
Well, I think the other part is getting out there, getting inside of the communities, really connecting with people, building relationships. We talked about this a little bit earlier, Amanda. Like I have my own Facebook group community, and inside that community, that's what I really talk about is how do you socialize on social media in order to attract your ideal audience? There's a strategy to doing that. And it's not just going into communities and becoming part of the post fest where everyone just starts posting and no one even knew or knows what anybody even posted. I'm like, what just happened here? What was the original question? And what am I scrolling through? So inside of my Facebook group community, my goal is to have individuals really get good inside of the community they're in with me so they can be fantastic when they go inside of these other communities. Because each level of the communities, whether I call them mega groups, so they're groups that may have like 15,000 plus, on down to the smaller groups that have like 400 or 500. Each group has a different strategy and a different dynamics and a different type of, personality to the group itself. Yeah,
I agree completely. And I just want to say that I actually met Tequila through joining her group. Okay. But when I joined, she has it, I don't even know how to explain it. So I'm a member of about 400-ish other groups. Maybe I'm like an addict groups. I don't know. But I just like to meet people and see what's going on and network and all that kind of stuff. So I'm a member of all these different groups, but I have never felt like welcomed as much as I did into her group. The vibe in there that she gives off for the new members and just for existing members is extremely engaging and welcoming. And it's just like the opposite of every other group I've been in. So I want to give you kudos to that because I was kind of very surprised. And I think that was one of my original comments to you was like, wow, I can't believe like your vibe in here is just so positive and so encouraging. And I don't know, it's really amazing. So
thank you for that. And It takes work, but I have worked inside of other individuals' groups, and I've helped to individuals build their groups. And I just knew with this group, I wanted to be different, and I wanted to really encourage individuals to kind of step outside of their comfort zone on social media, because I know that we have introverts. And as I say in the community, I say I'm an introvert. No one believes me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be a complete introvert with the name Tequila because my mom gave me that name. So I had to kind of be extrovert. So I'm an ambivert. I'm in between.
Yeah.
But I try to pull individuals outside of their comfort zone, because sometimes when we go inside these other groups, we may have an opinion and we have a voice, but we don't say anything.
Right.
So I try to really encourage individuals inside of the community that I'm in, or that you're in, my community, is to really put it out there. No one's going to judge you. No one's going to say anything. We're here to help each other, because the goal is for us to get really good here inside of this community so that we can be great outside.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I know you have something going on right now inside of the community, which I think is hilarious. And also it's super helpful. Can you give us that example of what's going on in there right now?
Yeah, right now. And it's so funny. I really wanted to do this like 2 months ago, but I was like, I maybe pushed it too far. I said, but my name is Tequila. Yeah. So this month I decided to just say, you know what? I'm putting it out here. Tequila made me do it. Yeah. So it's a go live challenge. So everyone is challenged to go live. It's for 15 days. So you have 15 opportunities to really go live. And I'm prompting you on different types of topics and different things to do when you go live. So it's Tequila made me do it. And you can blame it on me for if you're shy about going live or anything like that. So yeah.
And maybe a shot of tequila wouldn't hurt.
Exactly.
Beforehand.
You know what's so interesting though? Some of the group members, they said when they go live on their page and they're like, Tequila made me do it. And I'm like, oh my God, you're drinking tequila? So I knew this would happen because not everyone knows me. So
you're creating all these day drinking moms or day drinking women. Yeah.
And it's the best time of the year because it's summertime. All of our kids are getting out. So I'm like, tequila made me do it. My kids are getting out of school. I had to take a shot.
I love it. Well, I think it's a great challenge.
Yeah.
I know. And I don't have anything that's even close to being as cool as that, but I have a local moms networking group, and I always encourage them, do your welcome video in a live, or you can feel free to practice doing lives. In my podcast group, I do the same thing. But not very many people take me up on it, and I've never done anything like that. So I think it's a great thing to encourage them to, really, and also give them a topic like, okay, well, what do I go live about? I think that's a really important thing too, to have a message, to know what you're going to talk about and have that all prepared.
And that comes, and then you just brought up a thing here is that most people don't know what to go live about. So I created the 30 Facebook Live ideas that people could actually go live with. So there was no excuse. No one had an excuse. I'm like, you have to take shots of tequila. You have to do it. Tequila made you do it. And I gave you the Facebook Live ideas. So we have no choice.
That's awesome. I love it. So where can people find your group?
They could find my group. It's called Women Who Collaborate on social media. And they also can go to tequiladodard.com/community. And that will take you to it as well.
Perfect. And we'll be sure to have that in the show notes. So you should just be able to click from wherever you're listening and find that.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some of your favorite social media platforms?
Well, of course, number one is Facebook. And Facebook has changed over the years, and Facebook changes on us daily.
It does.
But one of my biggest strategies on Facebook is the Facebook group community. So I love Facebook for that. The secondary platform, and I think, Amanda, you would love this because you're in the world of SEO and things like that, is Pinterest. I love Pinterest in how you can create your blog post. Go ahead and start sharing your blog post, and everyone's sharing. I call it swoops up into this Pinterest funnel, whatever you want to call it. And everyone starts spitting your pins all over the place, and they come to your website. I'm like, how perfect is this? Yeah. So Pinterest is my second one. So definitely Facebook and then Pinterest. And I think the next one would fall in I go back and forth with Instagram, I tell you.
Yeah.
I go back and forth with it. I'll
I
go
feel you on
over,
that.
but then I come back. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, enough of all the follows that I just got, and then they're gone again. I'm like, okay, no, I'd rather be over in Facebook, and then no, definitely Pinterest.
Yeah. I know with all the algorithm changes, I know in the last probably week, Instagram has changed something in their algorithm. So then that way business posts are basically not showing up. And it's the same thing that Facebook did. Well, Facebook owns Instagram. So
Yeah.
that's one of those things that it's just like, and this is, I'm going to get on my little soapbox for just a minute, but it's really important for people to know how to capture leads from your website. First of all, you need to have a website. You need to know how to drive traffic to your website, and you need to capture the leads that are coming in, or just the people that are visiting your website. You need to get their emails. Like, you need to know who they are, because you're not going to be able to reach them one day. And like, for example, like this past week with Instagram, their business posts just stopped showing up in people's feeds, and the reaches of people's stuff went completely down. So I think it's really important to put that message out there and make sure that we're all doing that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And that's one of the things with taking on a new client in the business strategy. Part of it is I say, let's talk about your website. And then you won't believe some people just only have their Facebook page. And I'm like, you got to have your own website. And here's why. What if Facebook went down? Not saying that it will, but what if it went down? But I do know that Facebook has taken individuals' groups. They have taken people's personal profiles, and your personal profile is attached to everything, including your business page. I know individuals who are no longer on Facebook anymore because they didn't follow a community standard or whatever, and they were removed, and their whole entire business is gone.
Yeah.
So email list is yours. It belongs to you. Your website is yours. And just use the social platforms to drive people back to your website. And Mark made it great. Mark Zuckerberg, that's who I'm talking to, because he has a Facebook pixel. So just put the pixel on your website and make sure it's firing. And then you can just follow people back over on social.
Exactly. And then you can, if you want to reach them and you don't have that reach anymore, then you can just pay for an ad to retarget, and then you can know that you're reaching the people that have already been to your website. So I agree 100%.
Exactly. Because I think what happened, Amanda, here is social media took a life of its own, a life form. And I think that people just started losing sight of what social media is. But in addition to that, they started losing sight of actually who's on the other end of whatever you do on social media. Yeah. And that's another thing that I wanted to actually change and have in this Facebook community, to say, hey, it's human to human. People have always connected to people. And you have to remember, on the other end of social media, put the marketing back on it, there is another person who's receiving what you're putting out on the other end.
Yeah, I agree. And I definitely think that gets lost, especially in groups, and because you're just thinking, okay, I'm going to put this out here and there's going to be like all these people that are going to see it, right?
Yeah.
But you don't think about the one individual that you're trying to actually reach.
Yeah, the Raving 100. People lost sight of that. That's always existed for years. I've been in the sales and marketing arena for over 15, 20 years, and it's always been, who's your Raving 100, your Raving 100 fans. And somehow along the lines, people lost sight of what truly a fan is. They started collecting all these followers. A follower is not a fan. A follower is just following you, and just because you have 1 million followers doesn't mean that they're really interested in your product to buy. Yeah. The person who buys is the raving fan. Yeah. So how are you making those relationships and building your raving fan community? That's what's important.
Yeah. Awesome. I agree. And I think that is a really good point. I'm glad we kind of got into that. It was an unexpected turn, but it was very necessary.
With tequila, we take all twists and turns.
That's good. And tequila is probably my favorite liquor. So, yeah. Now you're my favorite person, but
great.
So tell us about your next big project. What are you working on? What is your big focus?
Well, right now I have a huge focus on This message. I'm really big. I had my mentor at the end of last year, and I've been with him for a few years now. And one of the big things that I was speaking to him about, and I was one of his last interviews, he passed away at the end of last year.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And I was speaking about this, is that we're calling it social media, but it's not really social. We're talking at each other, and we're not talking with each other, and we're not engaging each other. So I have a big push to really help individuals get that. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Get that messaging back in place and back in order. So I've started group coaching and kind of pulling people together and say, let's message audit what you're really doing and what you're giving out into the world and into the community, and what you're giving out to people on the other end.
Yeah.
Let's audit that message and make sure that it is falling within the root message of who you are and what you're about and what you're trying to give.
That's awesome. And it's much needed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. So that's awesome. So how can people get involved in that group coaching? Like, if a listener wants to join your group coaching and really define that message, how can they get involved?
They can go to Tequila Dodard /message.
Perfect. Okay. Great.
And when they go there, what they'll get is, it's like a roadmap process for them to start kind of laying out their message and thinking about where they are right now. So that will get them started.
Oh, that's awesome. So you give them something to start with, and then they can join the coaching.
Yeah. So if they want to, they can join the coaching.
Oh,
I'm a giver.
So cool.
I'm a giver.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great tool for people that are either, I think it would be a great tool for anyone, and I will probably partake in it as well, because I'm always, making sure that I'm doing those things as well. And it doesn't matter, I think, what stage your business is in. Always checking in and always making sure you're on the right path is a very good idea.
Yes, I think so. And like I told you, I said your message, the branches always sway. Think of a tree. They always sway and they go different ways. Mm-hmm. But does it come back and match to your root, Yeah. Because, if you're, I'm just going to give an example. If you're like a cat or a dog walker, and that's your root message and then your branch, and all of a sudden you jumped over and there's a car's on the branch. I'm like, okay, what happened here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
How did the car come into this whole thing,
Yeah.
So making sure that it all kind of matches back, because it could be a totally different business that you need to do, because some individuals say, oh, I have 2 businesses. What should I do? Mm-hmm. It may be that you have 2 different messages, but then it all comes back to your root of how you actually pull that client into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. Well, I think that roadmap sounds like a really good tool. So if you want that, you can go to tequiladodard.com /message. And how else can our listeners find you on the internet?
They can go to tequiladodard.com. I make it very easy.
Perfect. Okay. That's awesome. And one last question for you. What is your favorite thing about being able to work from home with your kids?
I think my favorite part about it is that I can work my schedule around and take time out to be there for my kids for those special moments whenever they need. For example, my daughter last week was a tree in a play.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was able to block off my schedule for that day, because I'm in control of my own schedule, and go and watch my daughter stand with her arms out wide and be a tree.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Which ties back into my root message that I've been talking about here on you.
Exactly. That's really odd and oddly fitting, which is great.
I love trees, if you hadn't guessed that yet.
Yeah. I love trees too, so I think that's great.
Trees is the way to life, right?
Yeah. And there's so much symbolism behind trees, and but awesome. Well, thank you so much for bringing your message here, telling us how to stand out and be ourselves. And I really just appreciate everything that you've brought, and I am super enjoying being a part of your Facebook group. So please don't forget to request to join that Facebook group, and you can see what I'm talking about firsthand. And if you have a Facebook group, you can actually see some inspiration on how to run your group.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amanda. I've really enjoyed being here with you today.
All right. Thank you. This episode of the Determined Mom Show is brought to you by Easy SEO for mom business owners. This is a free Facebook group that I have coming up from November 18th to the 22nd, 2019. So if you're listening to this after November, obviously you're not going to be able to join, but you can definitely look me up on Facebook. I have a free training every single month that I offer for moms that own businesses, all about SEO. So in this particular Facebook pop-up group, we will be having a little bit of a lesson on SEO. So I'm going to teach you basically SEO basics over 5 days. So we're going to go over things like auditing your site, sitemaps, and Google Search Console, Google My Business, what plugins that you can use for SEO, and also the dreaded keyword research. I'm going to make it fun though. So I hope that you will join me. If you would like to join, please visit onlinemarketingformoms.com/OMM, like OM. That will get you in. So all you have to do is join the waitlist there. And again, it starts on Monday, November 18th, and runs through Friday, November 22nd. And I will tell you that this is going to be a very interactive group. So if you are looking for a group to join and just kind of like be lurking in the background, that's not the group for you. This is going to be a very interactive group, and I want you to actually learn and apply what you learn and ask questions and just make it the most that you can actually gain out of an SEO training as possible, because you're going to have a live person to ask questions every single day. So looking forward to having you. And again, that is onlinemarketingformoms.com/OMM.